everyone and welcome back. Today's video is actually going to be sort of like a starter affordable makeup kit video. So I have pulled together a list of products that I have all in front of me that are affordable and that I absolutely love, that are available pretty much at your local chemist or at least online, and the things that are affordable. I tried to minimize the amount of makeup I have bought from Wish in this video, just because I know so many people do not like Wish products. So nearly everything is stuff you can buy in stores. This is also affordable for people who are living in Australia, New Zealand, sorry for the motorbike, and places that where things are extremely expensive. So I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but things like the L'Oreal Matte Foundation is nearly $40 here. In some places it's up to $45, and in that case I would rather spend an extra $5 and buy my Estee Lauder Double Wear. So that's why I don't own a lot of L'Oreal and Revlon products. But if you guys are just starting out in makeup, or you are just, if you've lost everything and you want to know some good products from the chemists and things, this is what this video is about. So I'm going to go through primer, foundation, concealer, etc. and show you. I do have a couple of options of everything, so let's jump straight into it. Okay, so to start off with, we have primer. I have three. I've pretty much given you like a variety, so to say. One for dry skin, one for oily skin, and a smoothing. So the one for dry skin that I chose is the Lacura Face Primer. This is available at Aldi supermarkets. It is a permanent item. I see it there all the time. I have to say this is probably my fourth tube. I use this quite a lot when my face is feeling really dry, and there are some times where I will wash my face and I will use this as my moisturizer and my primer. I tend to use that when I'm filming videos here where I'm not actually leaving the house. This does make me quite oily, but in the winter when my skin's really dry, this is really nice. It is like it's pretty much just a moisturizer, but for some reason it leaves the skin feeling a bit tacky. It plumps the skin. It leaves you with a really healthy glow. It's not an illuminating primer, but it makes you look really hydrated. It's like $5.60. It comes in 50 ml a bottle. Most other products are only 30 mils, so you do get quite a lot of product in here. It's an SPF of 15, so it does protect your face. It's low irritant, it's suitable for sensitive skin, it's oil free, and apparently it protects the skin from premature signs of aging. I absolutely love this. As I said earlier, this is probably my fourth bottle, and my mum likes it as well. Matte primer, I have the Rimmel Stay Matte. Now this is more going to be if you are, I want to say, normal to slightly oily. I don't have a pure matte primer available to, well, a pure matte primer for me that's affordable, because all of my really matte primers that I love are high-end. Anyway, this is my favorite matte primer from the affordable range. Rimmel has quite a lot of primers. They have the lasting finish, they have a few others, but this is the Stay Matte. I have this tube here, and I also have one at my dad's. This is 30 mils and it is about $14, $15, could be a bit more. I always buy my Rimmel products at Coles when they are on sale for half price. Coles, the supermarket, always has them on sale for half price, so that is when I buy these. If not, they are available at Kmart. That is the cheapest place to get them full price. I really like this. It's basically like a moisturizer as well, but it's a lot thicker than this one, and it really just blends into the skin. It does smooth out the skin a lot, not to the extent of a smoothing silicone primer, but it does smooth your face out quite a lot. It's pretty thick. You can wear this alone as well. It does mattify, and it works really well. It covers your pores, and it says you can wear it on top of foundation. I wouldn't do that, but it works really nice. I have no issues, doesn't break me out. I don't know many people that this makes them break out, and it's just a go-to primer that I love. My third one is actually the Oxx Mineral Primer. This is basically a mattifying silicone primer that is your generic silicone primer. As you can see, it's just like a gel and it rubs in. perfectly clear. Now, I have not tried the other primers from the Oxx range, but this is $4, and this, I have to say, is my absolute favourite silicone primer. I've tried so many of them from the chemists and things. I've tried Maybelline Baby Skin, I tried the L'Oreal one, which you guys know I freaking hate. I have tried a Face of Australia one. Aldi used to have this one and one in a purple tube that was a silicone based one. I tried that. Bare Minerals Prime Time. I've tried so many, and this is my favorite. This is the least greasy silicone primer that I have ever found. It truly mattifies my face. Like, I still go really oily using this, but it truly does mattify for a while. It smooths over the skin, and I have to say, this is my favorite silicone primer I have ever used. It's $4, so it's excessively cheap. They do have other ones in the range as well if you are looking for something else other than mattifying. They have like a green one for anti-redness. They have a pink one that's illuminating. They have, I think they have a blue one. They have, I think there's a pink one also that is actually like shimmery illuminating. This is the one I tried and I love it. Oxx is available at Kmart in case you haven't wondered. You cannot get Oxx online. Kmart does not sell any of their beauty products online. Okay, so for foundations, I have 3. Really, I've chosen matte foundations just because I have not tried many glowy, affordable foundations, yet I've tried a lot of matte ones. There's 2 here that I have to say are my absolute favourite. The first one is, by no surprise, the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. I know a lot of people who have really dry skin who actually really like this. I am in the shade 110, which is Porcelain. They just extended their shade range as well, so you may be able to find your shade. They do go very yellow, which is perfect for me. This is full coverage on me, perfectly smooth, blends in amazingly well. I find on my skin, no matter what primer I use, I cannot wear this if I apply it with a brush. So unfortunately, I have to apply it with a sponge. This does not last particularly well on my face, but it looks amazing. I've mixed this in with other matte foundations and it lasts a bit better. If not, I just take a powder and I do touch up, but at the end of the day, it does get to the point where I have to just take it off. However, like I said, this is perfectly smooth, amazing coverage. I find no matter what I do, this is always full coverage on me, even over the extreme texture on my face and on my forehead, in between my eyebrows and along my chin. I find this is perfectly smooth. And this is like my 3rd bottle of it because it's a go-to because it matches me. It's one of the only matte foundations that truly just matches me. Haven't used it in a while, but I love it. And the next one is actually the Designer Brands Matte Velvet Foundation. I will link the first impression that I filmed for this recently in the description box down below, so go check it out. This one is in the colour Porcelain Ivory, and this is more of a beige tone neutral, so I find that if you're extremely pink, I would not use this, but if you are yellow to neutral, I find you can get away with this. It does oxidize as well, but it basically says everything that it's basically everything on here that it says. A buildable oil controlling formula, even skin tone, mattifies, lightweight with a velvet texture that won't crease. It did not crease as bad in my smile lines or in my forehead as what it usually does. I find this applies with a brush or a sponge. I personally like applying this with a brush just because most of my foundations apply better with a sponge. So to have one that I actually like better with a brush is really exceptional. I still apply my concealer with a sponge, but it just means that I don't have to have extra hydration added to my foundation. I still go really oily with this, however it lasts a lot longer on my skin than this, and it doesn't have as much coverage. I can still get it to full coverage, but I need to build it up. So I can have this be medium-ish coverage, which I really like, because this one I find is just flat out full coverage no matter what. This I can make it medium coverage. It has a pump. I must tell you, if you are going to be traveling, do not buy this. It is a very heavy bottle. It's glass. This has an SPF of 15, doesn't have a huge amount of flashback to it. Designer Brands is cruelty-free and vegan, and this is approximately $16, $17. Depending on where you go. You can buy Designer Brands products on their website. They do also have other ranges of foundations. They have a luminous range. They have cushion foundations. They have one that is designed for mature, older skin. They have one that's supposed to be like light radiant, so it's supposed to be slightly dewy, things like that. So, but this is my favorite one. They smell really nice as well, like almost smell like cake. But I have to say this is probably one of my favorite affordable foundations. The third one is not really a foundation, but it's a foundation adjuster. These are the Australis Matchmaker Shade Adjusting Drops. Australis is also cruelty-free and vegan. Unfortunately, this product does come with the hefty price tag of nearly $22, but I buy it when things are on sale a lot. They sometimes have these products at your supermarket, so Coles. I do know they sell Australis products in Target now, and they also have them in Priceline and some other chemist as well. Of course, Australis has their own website. They do also have darkening shades as well if you need to darken a foundation. These were actually one of the first white mixer foundations that were available in stores in Australia, so that's why I picked these up. If you're like me and you are super oily, you are probably going to have to mix these in with a matte foundation anyway. If I mix these in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear, I'm not going to be able to wear that foundation for very long without it breaking up. However, I find the consistency of this really reminds me of M.A.C Pro Longwear foundation, no, M.A.C, what's it called, Studio Fix foundation. It really reminds me of that. The consistency, not really the look of it on the face, but it's just got that like consistency of it. It smells almost identical to M.A.C Studio Fix. And it does look it does look like that on the skin. For me, M.A.C Studio Fix, when I first apply it, looks amazing. It looks really smooth. It looks really like full coverage, doesn't settle on anything, doesn't emphasize texture. That's what these are. Moving on from those, I have concealer. So I have two from Maybelline. Not sponsored by Maybelline, I just love their stuff. The first one is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles. This one in particular is in the colour Brightener, which is a very pink toned. I bought like 4 of these when I thought they were discontinuing this shade a few years ago. This concealer you can buy for $15 at Kmart, which I really appreciate, because everywhere else it's like $22. However, I really like this. It's pretty much full coverage. I do have to build this up a little bit on my inner corner. The pink tone shade of this really helps to cover up my dark circles. It's so easy to apply. All you do is undo the lid, screw it, like twist it to get some of the product out, draw it on, blend it in, and it's done. Super hydrating. I have to say it doesn't crease as bad as a lot of other concealers that I have. And it just looks really nice. I find it helps to sort of plump underneath my eyes. It does contain goji berry and haloxyl, and I could have sworn that somewhere I read that this has caffeine in it. I could be wrong. This is really nice for mature skin, and they just extended their shade range as well. So I know they brought out a few darker shades and a few like really pale shades as well. I need to use up the couple of shades of these that I have, and then I will try those out. The Maybelline concealer is actually the Fit Me concealer. I don't use this very much just because you do not get much product in this at all. I went through my other tube so quickly. I have the shade 15 Fair. I know they also just extended the shade range of this, so next time I will probably buy a different shade. But I was really disappointed when I first bought this concealer. This is a brand new tube I haven't used. I was really disappointed when I first bought this, but after I kept using it, it was amazing. I do need to use a corrector underneath my eyes because this does not have a huge amount of coverage on me personally. If you have extreme dark under eye circles, this is not going to cover them completely. But what I do is when I put my MAC eye primer on, I just put a little bit, bring it down into my inner corners, and I find that helps cover up, or start to cover up some of the real darkness there. This is probably the smoothest concealer I have ever applied to my face. As in, when I take the wand out of the little tube and brush it on, it literally is so smooth to apply. It is so smooth to blend out. I have to be really careful because I do have to let this set, otherwise it just shows every bit of texture and it does crease. Every concealer creases on me, but it is the smoothest concealer I have ever applied. Just taking the wand out of here and brushing it on my face is so smooth. I was completely astounded. The only thing I don't like about this is really you don't get much product in here. You get 6.8 mils in here. Now in the, what's it called? Instant Age Rewind, you do get 6 mils only, but I find this one goes a lot further because you're distributing it through this. And in some other concealer, this one says 24 grams, so I got no idea. But I know I have, Rimmel Wake Me Up is like 14 mils. So you do not get much product in here. And for me, having to double layer it underneath my eyes, I went through it super quickly, but it also looks amazing over blemishes and things. It looks super smooth. So if you're looking for a really smooth concealer, this is the one to go. And my last concealer is the Focalure Big Cover. This I did originally purchase from Wish, but they do have their own official website. This I got in the shade Warm Ivory. It is the palest shade that they own. They only have 4 shades in this, and to be quite honest, I could use all 4 of them under my eyes as brightening shades. It just depends on what tone you prefer. This is the palest, and I just keep buying this. It's really super yellow, so if you don't like super yellow concealers, you won't like this. You get a huge amount of product in here. It is full coverage. It blends in perfectly. It sets really nice. It's a squeezy tube, so it's obviously easy to use. All 4 shades, I would say, are relatively pale friendly. I have the darkest shade as well, which I can't remember what it's called. It's super, super pink, but I mix them together when I have my self-tanner on. That's why I have it. But this is my first tube. I'm nearly empty, but for some reason, it just keeps going and going and going. I've got 2 backups in my drawer because I was convinced I was going to go through this so quickly. And although I use it so much, I still haven't completely finished it. So it just keeps going forever. It's really super cheap. It does have coconut oil in it, I know, which I find I can't really highlight the center of my face with this concealer because otherwise I go super oily. But this is my favorite affordable concealer because it's the only one I don't need to layer. It looks really nice on the face as well, so if you put on the sides of your nose, over blemishes, highlight the center of the face, it looks really nice. It's a super, super dewy concealer as well, so you will need to set it. Otherwise, it does like transfer and things like that. Alright, so I have some face powders here, and yes, so I have 2 face powders and 2 I use for underneath my eyes. Now, the 2 I use underneath my eyes is this combo I have been using for quite a while, or yeah, not on camera, but I had been using it off camera. This is the Australis Banana powder, and I know NYX makes a really pale banana powder and things like that. This is just more affordable for me and easier to get to because for some reason every time I try and buy something from NYX, which is only sold at Target here, everything is trashed and I just don't trust buying anything from there. So if I buy something from NYX, I try to buy it online, or Priceline chemists sell it as well, but they are so expensive. Anyway, I have this Australis Banana powder. Now, as you can see, it is like a pretty dark banana powder. So if you are dark enough, you can use this on its own. It is an amazing powder. It is super smooth underneath the eyes. It adds coverage to your concealer. It looks beautiful. As I mentioned earlier, Australis is cruelty-free and it's vegan. The only thing you have to be careful of is this lid breaks so easy. I've gone through, I'd say this is like my 5th or 6th compact. I have one at my dad's as well, and the lid broke because that's the only thing I hate. Australis products, you're paying $15–16 for something that the packaging feels even cheaper than some of my $2 products. But this is an amazing powder. It's really, really nice. It says apply to forehead, nose, chin, and under your eyes to banish dark circles and redness. If for some reason you do also have a foundation that's super pink and you want to use this for a face powder to make it more yellow, it works as well. It works just as well for that. I find it almost smooths out over your blemishes and things. It's really good. And the other powder I mix it with is this Maycheer white powder. This I bought from Wish. I have no idea if they have their own website. I buy this from Wish. Now, I have leveled up enough. I get this for free with like $2 shipping, so that is great. This is a normal face powder. They do have a banana shade in this, which in the photos it looks like it's pretty pale, so I might actually buy one as well and try it. But for now I'm mixing the white. This is just a stark white powder. It has like a very, very slight luminosity to it. Not much at all. Like I would say the Hourglass ambient lighting powders have more, but it's definitely not a complete like chalky matte. It's a very creamy powder as well. Now I cannot use this under my eyes on its own because it just looks ashy and gross. Mixing them together, I get the best of both worlds. I get a slight luminosity with this, I get the light colour from this, I get the smoothness from this, as well as the banana correcting. It's the best of both worlds and it's amazing. The only thing you need to be aware of, this Maycheer powder does not have much in it, so you will go through it quickly. I honestly have not been using it much and I've already hit pan, but that's also because I mix more of this than this, but whatever. They are amazing. It's my favourite under eye combo. Now I thought you guys are probably going to think that I'm going to recommend the Australis Fresh and Flawless because it was my favourite face powder for about 2 years and I've replaced it. I have replaced it with my Sugarbox Powder Cake. This is also available from Wish. I know I said I tried to minimise the amount of Wish products, and to be quite honest, after this there's like one. So bear with me. But I bought one of these just because... Sorry, I have a hair right across my face. I bought one of these just because on the photos it looked like it was super pale, and it is. This is one of my new ones I'm going to open because I have one that's practically empty and you can't tell what the colour is. But it is like, it's definitely a skin tone, but it's almost white, which I thought is amazing. And this is a pretty damn good powder. Because I use so much powder, particularly if I'm using a dewy-ish foundation, my face just doesn't set. So I need cheap powders. This I can get for free with like $3 shipping, so guess who stocks up on this? I buy like 2 of them every time I get paid because I go through one of these honestly in like a month because I just use so much powder. But it's really nice. Packaging's a bit bulky. You open it, there's a mirror, there's your powder there, and you open it and you get one of these little sponges, which no one uses these, but it's sort of like that latex type of sponge, almost like your beauty blender type of product, and I really like using this for baking. I for some reason cannot use my normal face sponges as ones to bake with. I use these instead. This picks up the product and I can lay it under my eyes without it being like too disrupting because it's almost the same as your thing. Anyway, sidetracked. But this is a super pale powder, adds coverage to your face. If you have a huge amount of texture, it's probably this that's showing all the texture on my skin all the time, but it's cheap enough that it works amazingly well. And I have no issue with it. I think it looks really nice, and to be quite honest, it almost reminds me of M.A.C. If you're looking for another affordable powder that you can get in store, I love the E.l.f. Studio Pressed Powders. If you can find a shade. This is apparently their lightest shade. Now I know my camera is very glary at the moment because it's like half sunset at the moment, but look at that. This is like shade 1. This is... Look at that. Look at the difference in the shade colours. I use this when I'm self-tanned. If this powder was practically this colour, this would be my all-time favourite powder. I absolutely love this. It is so smooth on my face. It's full coverage. It just keeps everything matte. I honestly don't go very oily using this. It's one of my favourite powders. It's just so dark. It's so like creamy and smooth. It's like freaking full coverage. It's amazing. It just freaking sucks that it is so dark. Packaging's also a bit bulky. You get a mirror, you lift it up, and you have a sponge, which no one uses these. You need to stop giving sponges because no one uses them. My last powder is a translucent powder. Now I know not a lot of people like translucent powders because everyone these days likes full coverage. However, sometimes, like today, I use a translucent powder. Now I don't use loose ones. I find that loose powders A are annoying, B they upset my nose, and C they're just a mess, and the loose ones just take up so much they just take away so much coverage on my face. So when Australis came out with the pressed translucent powder that is pure white, I jumped for joy. What's it called? Rimmel has their Stay Matte powder that's apparently in a translucent shade. You swatch it and it's almost like this colour. It's almost like orange peachy. It makes my foundation oxidize so bad. And when Australis brought this out, this is going to take away coverage, a little bit of coverage for your foundation, but this powder is amazing. It's a fine translucent powder, finishing powder that quickly sets your makeup for all day wear on the go. Now, this sets your makeup really well. And also on the big blister packaging that's around this as well, it says it has, I can't remember what it has in it, but it's got the technology as well where it's like blemish controlling as well. So this is really good for people who have acne and things like that. Apparently it helps to control blemishes. Australis is cruelty free and vegan as well. And what I absolutely love is this is not a super heavily pressed powder. It's still really loose in here, which I love. If I have a foundation that has trouble setting, this is the powder I use because I can get so much of it out on my brush that it's amazing. I used to love the loose version of this, and when they brought it out in pressed, I was amazed. This is my favorite loose, translucent powder I've tried, and I've tried a lot. This does make my foundation lighter in some instances, and it just works really well. I personally don't like it for underneath the eyes, but if you are someone who finds it works, then good for you. Now, moving on to bronzer. I have to say, to be quite honest, I don't use drugstore bronzers. I pretty much only have the E.l.f. golden bronzer here, and at my dad's I have the St. Lucia duo, the blush and bronzer duo. That is all I have for drugstore bronzers. I have my Australis contour kit, but they are not bronzers. I had the same powder as this in the bronze shade I was using for a while. It's way too cool toned, I've realised, for me. So all my bronzers are high end. I have Too Faced, I have NARS, and I have an Hourglass one now. I have a Chi Chi one, but it's still too orange. So what I would recommend is you go and find a really nice face powder that you like and buy it in a much darker shade. That's all I can recommend. I do have a couple of drugstore bronzers I really want to buy now that I've come to liking bronzers with a little bit of shimmer in it. So there's a couple I want to buy and try out. But for now, I'm sorry, bronzers are just the one thing I am not very educated on because I've got like 4. And I only really use 2 of them. Blushes, however, I pretty much only own affordable blushes. I have a few Hourglass, I have a M.A.C one, I got a Napoleon Perdue. Like, I have a couple of high-end blushes, but I'm not that into collecting blushes anymore unless it's like a colour I know I'm going to wear. So really, new blushes are not something that comes into my life very often at all. So I've got some here. I'm going to recommend the brands for you, not necessarily just these colours, but these are the brands I recommend. So for a slightly more expensive, I recommend NYX. This is my blush in Pinched. This is one of my all-time favourite colours. This is one of my travel blushes because it's so small. NYX is cruelty free. I can't exactly remember how much these NYX blushes are. Everything will be in the description box down below, but these are amazing. They blend really well, they look really nice on the skin, and I love this colour so much. Another one I recommend are these Mauve blushes. You can get these at some of the Terry White chemists as well as Coles, the supermarket. This particular one is in the colour Cupid, and this is the most beautiful everyday blush. Like, it's got a slight pinky peachy tone, it's completely matte. I absolutely love it. I am honestly going to buy one of these for my dad's house because I don't have any blushes there, and this is just a colour that goes with everything, and it's matte. It blends perfectly well. Mauve is cruelty free as well. They have a heap of other products, but I freaking love it. They have other colours as well. That's just the only one I own. I have tried some others from friends that have them. Bow Beauty. They have really stepped up their products in the past few years. This blush in particular is in the colour Pink Goddess. You guys can tell I really like the peachy pinks. This has the most beautiful glow on the skin. It blends out perfectly well. It's super pigmented, it's really soft, and it's only like $2 as well. They have highlighters in these. They have different color blushes all the time. I've got a really dark rosy one that's amazing for the autumn and winter, so these are amazing as well. I've had them for so long. Essence is another one. I have quite a few Essence blushes, and to be quite honest, I think they are wonderful. This is the Viva I Love Brazil blush, and I think it's beautiful. Super bright, super pink. I do use it quite often, which you guys don't see, particularly in the summer, and I think they are really good. The matte ones in particular, I'm not the biggest fan of an extremely glowy blush, but Essence is great. E.l.f. as well, these are the studio blushes. I know some people are quite disappointed in these. This colour in particular is Tickled Pink. I just grabbed this one out of my drawer. I love all of them. I have to say my least favourite's probably Candid Coral, just because it's a little bit too, I want to say, chunky glittery on my skin. But if you are darker than me, it's going to be amazing. They blend out super well. Like, you can see how much I've used this. The word E.l.f. has practically come off it. This was my everyday blush throughout pretty much the entire duration of my high school life. These E.l.f. blushes are only $8. You can buy them online or in store at Kmart, and they are beautiful. And I know they've brought out some other colours, and they also have blush palettes and things. I haven't tried them though. Another one is an excessively cheap one as well. These are BYS. BYS is sold at Target. I've seen they sell some products at Target. They sell things at your hot dollar shops, and they also sell them at Kmart. This blush in particular is in the colour Coral, and it is amazing. These are $4.75, and they are totally worth it. They look like they are kind of chunky glittery, but when you put them on the skin, they are the most beautiful glow. The colours they have are beautiful. They've got anything ranging from like bronze colours to bright pinks to corals. They have quite a lot of colours, and you can't go wrong. BYS, E.l.f, Mode, NYX, and I'm unsure about Essence. They're all cruelty free. My last one are these OXX baked blushes. These are $2. I currently only own this colour Peony, but it is the most beautiful bright like bubblegum pink, and to be quite honest, this is probably the best formula I have ever used. This is better than some of my Hourglass blushes that I own. It is so smooth on the skin, I just can't even describe it. It is the best blush ever. It's a baked product. It's just super glowy, super smooth, pigmented. It is absolutely amazing. I was so surprised that this is only $2. They have peachy colours as well. They have more bronzy colours. They have a lot of other colours as well, but this is the only one I currently own. But those are the brands I prefer. Okay, so for highlighters, again, really, most of my highlighters are high-end. I like the creamy colour that's in the E.l.f. Golden Bronzer. I have a couple of highlighters actually from Chi Chi. I have one in this palette, which is sort of like it's like a white that's got a pinky tone to it. And I have another one in a large palette. But other than that, really, Aldi. I have my Aldi contour kit, which is amazing, the Lacura brand. That's actually at my dad's. Other than that, nearly all my highlighters are high-end. I've got two Becca, I've got the Mary Luminizer, I've got two Anastasia ones, I've got a Jeffree Star, which I know some people think Jeffree Star's affordable, but once you convert it to Australian prices, they're roughly $30. I know they're worth it, but the price itself is still higher up there. So I really have not tried affordable highlighters as such, so again, I'm not huge on looking at them, but to be quite honest, from the brands that we have here in Australia, I'd say go high-end. Eyebrow products I'll go with next, and again, to be quite honest, I really only use pomades. I absolutely loved the Bud K pomade I got from Wish. I will try and link that down below, not sure if it's available still. If not, I really like the E.l.f. brow kit. I have this in the colour medium. This is what I used to use before I decided to buy pomades, but you have a powder and a wax. I know so many people who buy these who use them just like for the powder. I personally need a powder and a wax. If I use one of these, the wax is too shiny. this gives me really like bold brows. This color is way too dark, so if I actually should probably throw this out and buy another one, because the color medium is too dark for me right now. But this is what this is what I used to use. E.l.f. is cruelty free. This is only about $8. It lasted so well. It came with its own brush, which is what I used to use. I used to use this little brush side there, and for the powder I would just use this and just like put it through. But I know so many people who buy this just for the powder. I highly recommend it. If you are super oily, you will need to use a powder or some form of a powder to set the wax. I found that when I got really oily of a day, it would come off and smudge. This does smudge. You will need a brow gel with this, but other than that, I think it's great. It's easy to use. You don't get a huge amount of product in there, but it does actually last. The cream product in there lasts a lot longer than most pomades I've ever had. I'm not that big on using pencils. I'm more of a brow pomade cream type of person, so I'm not that educated on brow pencils, so ask someone else if you want that. I will go with eye stuff next. So eye primer, I recommend the e.l.f. Shadow Lock eye primer. I know so many people hate this, but this is my favourite affordable eye primer. I've not tried that many, but what I have, this is my favourite. I buy the colour, I think it's called Sheer. I tore the sticker off. I took the little stopper out as well, because then I can get to all of the product. But this is my favourite affordable eye primer. I think it's $8. Again, e.l.f. is cruelty free, available at Kmart. It does come in other colours, but I prefer this. It does dry down matte. I set it with a either an eyeshadow or a face powder, and my eyeshadows stay all day, blend really well, and they don't crease. So this is my favourite one. I'll go into eyeshadows next. Now these are not particularly like eyeshadows themselves. It's eyeshadow brands. So one I highly recommend is BH Cosmetics. I know you can pretty much only buy these online, but they are so affordable. I know that so many people love them. This is the Carly Bybel palette, and I loved this so much. I used this for my Year 12 formal. I chose this palette over so many high-end ones to use. This is basically a green-eyed girl's dream. The highlighters are beautiful. I really only use the first two. If I'm super like freshly fake tanned, I can mix this gold in with a bit of the pink. This pink color is amazing, absolutely amazing. This color I use for eyeshadows. The eyeshadows in here are amazing. I know so many people love BH Cosmetics, so that is why I recommended them. We are thinking of moving, so if we do that, I really want to stock up on BH Cosmetics. I would rather buy BH over Morphe. Has nothing to do with controversy, it just has to do with the fact I would prefer BH. Another one I really love is Models Prefer. These are available at Priceline Chemists, and I'm pretty sure online. They bring out so many palettes, particularly at Christmas time, for like $10. I think I bought this one for $15, but they bring out, this has got 2 rows in it, but they bring out ones that have 1 row, and they're $10. So $10 for 12 eyeshadows. I think it's really good. In this palette, the bottom row here is shimmery, the top row is matte. The shimmers are not really anything to write home about. I would prefer to use a base underneath them, but the mattes in here are beautiful. So my mum has got a couple of Models Prefer palettes. I have a couple of really big, huge palettes from them. And to be quite honest, apart from the shimmery shades in this palette, I am not disappointed. They are pigmented, they blend really well. They're sort of in between 2 palettes I'm going to mention. They're not ultra pigmented, but they are enough you can work with them. It's sort of like Natasha Denona eyeshadows are like ultra pigmented. These are going to look pretty crappy next to them, but I find that's really nice, particularly if you're using a lighter eye look, which to be quite honest is what I do with this. I do lighter looks. These 2 really dark shades here are really all I use for either eyeliner. I hardly use those on my outer corners. So I really like them. These matte shades are amazing. I actually really like mixing the first 3 shimmery shades for like brow bone highlights. This pewter shade here is really nice. So I used to travel with this all the time, and every tin comes with a different color. I can't talk about it enough. Another palette I really love is Designer Brands. Now this in particular was a limited edition 48 mineral eyeshadow palette. I actually got this in my Easter show bag like 3 years ago. Thank you, Dad. And they actually were selling this in store, limited edition. This is pretty much all shimmery shades. I just grabbed this for an example. I have a couple of designer brands palettes and they are amazing. Their mattes are so buttery and creamy. I want to buy a couple of their quads because they look amazing, but their mattes are so creamy. Their colors are pigmented. I freaking love this palette. I can't tell you how much I actually use this. The only thing I hate is the fact it's so like pink. I don't like pink, but it's really, really nice. The only thing is these shadows do have like a glitter overspray, but I really like designer brands eyeshadows. As I said, they're cruelty free, they're vegan. Some of their palettes get to be a bit pricey, but I think they are totally worth it and they're amazing. The Model's Preferred palette is in between designer brands and the Pop Feel ones. So this is the other Wish product that I said I had. These are the really tiny palettes. They don't actually have a name, so I will link them down below. There are two of them. This is the matte one that I grabbed. There is also a shimmery one. I recommend them both. You guys have seen me use this in a couple of videos that I've done. I used this colour in a look recently. This palette's really nice. If you are looking for eyeshadows that blend really well, that are relatively pigmented, but you don't want to be using too much eyeshadow, I have to say this is a really nice beginner's palette. You have got some really pale shades you can use on the inner corner and to set your eye primer. You have got some really nice shades to do a nice purple. You've got shades here that will work for a no makeup look. You can make it super warm with the oranges. You got a pop of colour, you got a dark brown, medium brown, a purple. I find you really can't go wrong with this palette. The Model's Preferred eyeshadows are in between this and the designer brands one, meaning these are sort of lightly pigmented. You can build them up. They blend really, really well. I personally am not too fussy with my products. I know a lot of people who would probably freaking hate this palette, but I love it. These are available on Wish, but I think they are totally worth it. They're really small, they're super lightweight as well, so if you are traveling, I would say this is great. This is probably going to be one of my go-to travel palettes from now on because it is so light, it's so small, it fits in my makeup bag, and it has everything I would need to create a look. All I'd have to do is probably take the shimmery one with me, and that's it. And my last one for eyeshadows is Chi Chi. I have a huge palette as well as this. My stepsister has a couple of their like smaller palettes. They have dupes for a lot of other palettes as well. They have a couple of naked palette dupes, things like that. I'd say they have close to 30 different ones of those smaller palettes. I know some people who literally collect all of them. They're only like $22 each as well, which I think is amazing. Sleek is an honourable mention. I just have this palette because I just grabbed it. But I don't think they sell their baked eyeshadows anymore because I can't find them in store and they're not online anymore, which is sad, which is why I'm not featuring them. I have a few. But their eyeshadows are, their mattes are super pigmented, really soft, and they blend really well. The shimmery shades are amazing. Some of them go super pigmented, work really well with MAC Fix Plus. They stay on the eyes. If I use Chi Chi eyeshadows, I can guarantee I'll love the look. Also cruelty free. They can get a bit expensive, but if you can buy things on sale or if you have a gift card or something, I think they're worth it. They're pretty much only available at Target, but they also have their own website. Now I'm going to move on to a couple of miscellaneous items for the eyes, and then we have the lips, and that's it. So for the eyes, pretty much I've got some eyeliners here. Now you guys know the designer brand's Absolute Liquid Eyeliner is my favourite. I know a heap of people would absolutely hate this because it doesn't dry down completely matte. I don't get what it is with everyone needing matte liquid eyeliners. I think it's a stupid thing because so many people are missing out on such good eyeliners because it's not matte. Like, really, yes, have your preference, but just put a freaking eyeshadow over the top. It's not that bad. This comes in brown. Have not tried the brown, but this lasts for so long. Like, this actual thing lasts for so long. It's super easy to use, super black, doesn't irritate my eyes. It stays on all day. It's basically everything I could use in a liquid eyeliner. It's $8.99. It's cruelty free. It's vegan, and it's amazing. For pencil eyeliners, my favourite white one is Australis in Starlight. This one you do need to sharpen, but it stays on my waterline forever. I had a blue one in this and I had the black, and I hated them both, but this for some reason is almost a different consistency. This is my second one. I love it. I put it on my waterline and it stays. Then for some other colours and my black, I have the Rimmel Scandaleyes, the kohl eyeliner ones. I am looking for another black eyeliner for me to use personally. These just aren't like wow. The black one and this just isn't like wowing me anymore, but I do highly recommend it. If someone could please recommend a black eyeliner that's available, I would gladly use it. But I have it in this in blue, I have the black one, and I also have it in taupe, and they stay on all day. Draw really nice. I actually have this blue one on my waterline right now. Love it. Super creamy, don't irritate my eyes. And for other colours and things as well, I have NYX. This one in particular is in aqua green, and this is one of the retractable eyeliners. Super creamy, super slim as well, which is really good, and I love it. Stays on all day, doesn't irritate my eyes, doesn't smudge, doesn't wear off, works really well. Gel eyeliner, I have to say the E.l.f. cream eyeliners. I have the brown one and I have also tried the black one. I know some people really like the teal. This honestly has lasted me for about 4.5 years, almost since I started my YouTube channel. This colour I find is really nice. It doesn't move, it's easy to use, it's super like creamy, it's amazing. And I've tried the Rimmel gel eyeliner, I tried the Maybelline one, I've tried a couple of cheaper ones. I know I used to love the Maybelline one, but it just still transferred, and in the end it was getting to the point where it would literally melt off my eyes. My wing wouldn't be a wing at the end of the day. This, no problem. This, half the price, cruelty free, amazing. Eyeshadow bases, you guys know I absolutely am obsessed with the Maybelline Colour Tattoos. Stay on all day, don't crease, amazing colours, look beautiful. I don't like the NYX Jumbo pencils, they don't work. For mascara, I personally prefer Maybelline, CoverGirl, and the Aldi Lacura brand. This mascara I personally haven't tried, but they have some ones in their permanent range I absolutely love. This one is supposed to be a dupe for the L'Oreal Million Lashes one. This Maybelline Smoky Eyes Mascara is my favourite. I have to say it does depend on what you prefer. If you want a more natural looking eyelash, I would prefer CoverGirl. If you want something slightly more dramatic and things, I'd say Maybelline. Mascara is one of those things that is so personal. For lipsticks, I have a few brands here, I have to say. I'm going to go through these quickly, my camera's about to run out of storage. So one of my all-time favourite ones is the E.l.f. matte lip colours. I love these, they are amazing. They are matte, but they still have a tiny bit of a glossy finish. The colours are beautiful. This one's in the colour Coral. Their shade range is beautiful. They don't bleed outside my lip line. They're just in a pencil form, super lightweight so you can travel with them. Cruelty free, they're like $8 and you could not go wrong. Essence lipsticks as well is amazing. They're only like $4.70 and I think they have really nice colours. This one in particular is in the shade Porcelain Doll. It's sort of a darker nude on me. I have an almost white shade I mix in with a lot of my lipsticks. I find that these, they're glossy, they're hydrating, but they just stay. They're really, really good. Probably one of the best, like, really cheap lipsticks. Best excessively cheap lipsticks are the Bow ones. They have matte, they have a cream, and they have other ones as well. This one's in the colour Page, which is a beautiful, like, coral peach colour. I absolutely love it. These are great. The lipsticks, these are super glossy. You will need a lip liner with these or something underneath. They're bright red, super nice, absolutely amazing. They have beautiful colour ranges. If you have really chapped lips, these are going to be your best friend. And lastly, Maybelline. I have to say Maybelline is very similar to Essence. They stay on the lips, they look amazing. Super like hydrating, but they don't run outside your lip line. Last all day, amazing colour range. These are like $12.70. Pardon me, but if you can get them on sale, they're great. For lip liners, I'm not that educated on lip liners, but I have to say the Essence ones are my absolute favorites. Super creamy, stay on all day, they're not drying, they last amazingly well, and they're only like $2, so that is the best thing. And the nude color is amazing. And then lastly, I have lip glosses, and these Savvy by Designer Brands lip glosses. These are just the mini ones that I have, but I have a couple of full-size ones, and I have to say these are amazing. Their stuff is really cheap. I'd say their most expensive thing is like $9, and that is great. Like, Savvy by Designer Brands is amazing. If you're looking for really cheap makeup products, their things are great. OXX lip glosses from Kmart. These are beautiful. This is the nude shade that I wear all the time. I absolutely love it. They remind me of the NYX Butter glosses, but without being as thick, if that makes sense. They come in a really long packaging, super long applicator. They almost smell like the NYX lip glosses, but not quite the same, but I highly recommend them. And the last thing are these Chi Chi Dramatic Lip Lacquers. These are, they also have liquid lipsticks, which do not, they say they're matte, but they're not. They're exactly the same formula. They're super glossy, insane pigment. Smell absolutely amazing. These do bleed outside your lip line, so you will need a lip liner or something underneath, but the colours are super pigmented. They have an amazing shade range. You get a huge amount of product in these. I would buy these on sale because they are a bit pricey, but if you can get one, they are absolutely amazing. Super glossy and just incredible. So that was it, guys. I only have 2 minutes left on my memory card, so I hope you really enjoyed this video. I know it was super long. It's probably going to be such a pain for me to edit, but put your suggestions in the description box down below for some affordable products you want me to try. I really want to try Colourpop. I was this close to buying a palette the other day, but I didn't. I hope you all really enjoyed this video. Please check out the description box down below for all of these products and other stuff as well. Check out my social media sites that are down there. Hit the subscribe button while you're down there as well, and the little bell to get notified when I upload. And I hope to see you guys in my next video.